Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I think we'll continue our interactive session today. Actually, Hardev, you were discussing before. I do want to take feedback on after this Bani, we should start Rai Rasa, or is there interest in something else? I think that's something we decided, or we can even start Japji Sahib Ji Bani. So based on that, I think we can maybe decide at the end of the session. To resume from our previous week talk, I think I'll just start with reciting some shloks from Sukhmani Sahib Ji, and then we'll continue from where we left last time. Satnam Shri Vaheguru Sahib Ji, Adi Gure Namah, Jugad Gure Namah, Sat Gure Namah, Shri Guru Deve Namah. Firat of dolls Nanak ki bhakti laaye, Gyan anjan gur diya, Agyan andher pinas, Har kirpa मन परगास, पूरा प्रभु आराध्या, पूरा जाका नाम, नानक पूरा पाया, पूरे के गुण गाओ. So those are the shloks we have all here from Sukhmani Sahib Ji, which we discussed in the previous months. All the kathas or this whole world, generations they have been into, right? So, and everybody starts it also with remembering somebody whom they think has already been there, so that there's a blessing into it, right? So there's the tradition in Sikhi to start any katha, or and with doing a slok with Mangalacharan, it's called, to obtain the blessings of that. Yes, we get into that mind frame that we can do that kind of discussion. Right? So I think last time we didn't have time to summarize our discussion, but we were looking at from Gurbani, from Janam Maran perspective, right? So, and I got these excerpts here mainly to make a point that, throughout Gurbani, if we look at, it's always talking about we have to rise above Janam Maran, right? So it's Gurbani, and there are a lot of shabads. We didn't go through actually this one, Mahalla Noma shabads. Almost everywhere, within every 2 to 3 Ang's pages of Gurbani, you will see a reference to this topic again and again, right? So this Shabad here is Rag Jai Javanti, right, from Mahalla Noma. This is the 9th Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, right? So he has very few Shabads, but most of the Shabads are very direct, telling us that, hey, this is not right. You have to know the worth of your birth as a human. So this is how you should spend this life, right? So he's very directly saying, he says, Ram Simar, ee hai tera kaaj hai, Jagat Sukhman, Mithya Chuto Sab Saaj hai. So he says, remember that, meditate on that one divine. Maya ko sang tyag, Prabh ji ko saran lag. Because that's it's in our hands, right? We take this topic of death and we get so confused on what is in our hands, what is versus what is not in our hands. And Sadhguruji is very clear, stop associating with the things which are not helping us to reach our goal on that path. It is within our hands. So that's why they have to keep prodding alive. Where you're born, lok par lok, and beyond also. It's not like, oh, you get onto this path and then you're only doing it because after that something will be good. Who's seen after that? He's saying even Jivan Mukhat is the other part, right? It says of the Gurbani, it says above Janam Maran and do the mukti within the Jivan. So they're trying to get us in touch with that life inside us, which is eternal, and see from that perspective. And when you see from that perspective, of course you rise above all of this, and you rise above time and space and everything. Because and when you rise above time and space from that perspective, that you can touch that consciousness or that chit inside you, it naturally happens that the things which are beyond understanding of mind can happen. Right? So Jagat Sukhman Mithya, Chuto Sab Saj hai. Whatever you have seen, this Sarup Saj, Chuto. And it keeps saying, all Pagats Pani, everybody says, as us as a seekers, I think what helps us is to keep having that question. Have you understood it? Having a knowledge and having a real understanding as two different things. Do we understand it? And that's why we need to, that existence of us which composes us, our thinking, our consciousness, has that understood it. Pachan kahe par karat guman, baru ki peet jaise basuda ko raj hai. He says, supne jo tan pachan, it's like a dream. What you, this wealth and all, it's like a dream, right? Why are you so proud of it? He says, it's like baru ki peet, it's like a wall of sand. All these big empires, the Raj, it's nothing more than that. In the end, if we look at from years before, what was considered as so grand as big forts and everything, what has happened to it? Who cares for them now, right? And as the time passes, the, the the value of the existence of where we are, that keeps changing. So it's called mithya, right? And it keeps changing based on the where the whole humanity thinking altogether is going to, right? So Nanak jan kehat baat binas jai tero gaat, छिन छिन कर गयो काल तैसे जात आज है. This is God. This is kehet baat. I'm saying this thing to you. Binas chahe tero gaat. What you have, it's going to, which is this worldly thing, it's going to perish. It's going to be gone. Chin chin kar gayo kaal, kar gayo kaal, taiso jaat aaj hai. This moment, don't you see how this time is passing away? Chin chin karke. And today has passed and tomorrow will go away also. Right? So in all of the Bani, there is so much emphasis on living in that presence, with in touch with that divinity inside you, that eternity inside you. And all this is very important to understand, because we said, actually I see Dr. Shekhar has joined, and Paulji, you had some plans that if he joins, you wanted him to present something. So tell me, I can stop, and if we have him.
No, I think it's perfectly fine. Because last time we were talking about, and Taji talking about time and space and the connectivity with Dr. Shekhar Bhai. Since he has been lucky and blessed to have had that interaction and gone there, whenever you think you want to incorporate and you're talking discussions, that would be completely fine, because I thought between Dr. Tarji and Dr. Shekharji, they have a lot of overlapping. They are both scientists and technologists, and they both have great love for connecting with Malik. And of course, Babaji Gurbani is obviously there, the ultimate. So it's just a continuation of last week's discussion. And I told Shekhar Bhai that if he would be kind enough, then just join in and we can just continue our discussion. Lena, you were very kind to say, okay, let's continue from last week. Nothing more. Whenever you think is right, that's, we leave it to you, Lena ji.
TK, okay, let me take maybe exactly 10 minutes, and I'll maybe or less. I'll just wrap up.
So take all the time. It's okay, no hurry.
And, I really would want to hear.
Shekhar Bhai's comments. Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
So, okay. So this, in plain words, I do not, it has its own views of, but it talks a lot about, again, our condition in this world. And this is Rainer. So I hope you're able to see this. Is it big enough? It is not, right? But I think let's just continue. So other thing which Gurbani and all the spiritual grants out there, they put this stamp on is, I think I said that about, when before you're born kind of thing, right? So it starts like, ne Rainer Garab Kundal Jab Achat Urd Tyan Liv Laga. ये बहुत जगह ते it always emphasizes you were in Dhyan when you were in the Garab. It says Garab Kundal Jab Achat. When you came into the womb, you were absorbed in meditation. Many places, same thing is written. Right? So let's accept it. And then there are those who realize, who can get to, certain things are more easier to achieve on this path. Is more and more you try to get closer to that self, you are able to get to that. How were you thinking? What was your state? When you were a child, through some memories, or even, so that's how you see, oh, tapasya karde hain, ki karde hain, how do they, so that's the way of them to realize more, right? And or whatever you call it, enlighten more or get more knowledge, right? So it says you were in meditation, remember that. He says, Mirtak pind pad mat na ahnis, ek agyan so naga. At that time, you took no pride in your perishable body. And day and night, you were ahnis ek agyan so naga. So you were there in that dhyan. Right? Te din sammal kast mahadukh abchit adhik pasare. Says, remember, at that time, you were remembering God, but your body was in such a pain. It was upside down. See how you were suffering there. You were aware of that pain, but you had your consciousness attached. You were meditating on that one. But now, what have you done? Now you have spread that consciousness far and wide. Right? And it said also so you're born and your consciousness gets spread and you forget that part. But it says that that's still your chance of merging with the higher consciousness, with the supreme or consciousness, if that's what you call it. But after you are dead, to control on it, then it can just disintegrate into millions. Then you have really no control. That's why they say it's human birth is so important, right? It says even like after birth, pasar jandi, pasarya, it says adhik pasarya, it just goes far and wide. Garab chhot mrit mandal aya, tau narhar manho bisarya. He says, now after that worm, you have come to mrit mandal. He's calling this whole human existence, us in this world are called Mirt Mandal. Jamade was right? So it's called Mirt Mandal. He says, now you have to come to the Mirt Mandal is the death valley. You're coming to this death valley and you've forgotten that God from your mind. So फिर पछतावेगा मुड़िया तू कवन कुमत भ्रम लागा. This is what doubt has happened to you. Like some spell has happened all of this human. Kuch ho gaya, right? Kuvan kumat, some spell has happened all of that, and you have forgotten about it. It's also in a way telling you that you are enlightened when you're born. He says, so because because you don't remember that, and the way to remember that is through meditation and remembering God and through those who have already achieved, right? He says, you will regret and repent, O fool. You are engrossed, you call it common evil-mindedness, skepticism, whatever, but pram is the right words. Then we translate it to different things, more negative things, but pram is a doubt. We don't know, right? Chet Ram nahi jampur jahega, jan bichre anradha rahao. He says, Chet Ram, think of that God. Nahi jampur jahega, then you won't go to that city of death. You have to get connected to it. Don't forget it. Why are you wandering around out of control, right? Rahau, that's a Rahau line. So then the last padas I will just go over, it just talks about what do we do in our life. I'll just go to the last fifth pada. Lalach kare jeevan pad karan lochan kachu na suche. Says you get into all kind of things, right? You want, lalach, you greed for longer life. Jeevan pad karan lochan kachu na suje. Even when your eyes are not able to see, when you get so old, thaka tez chudya man panki kar angan na sukhai. Says that light has gone out, that bird of your mind is flown, you're no longer welcome in your home and courtyard. When that's how it's thaka tej udya man panki kar angan pakto maran mukat kin pai. Says if you live your life in this way by forgetting that one divine, that Pagaji is saying, he says, Sunore Pagto, Maran Mukat Kinpai, if at this way you are going to go through this Thakate, Chudyaman, Pankhi, if you're going to leave this body in that state, how will you get to a mukti? Right? There's no way. Who has attained liberation after such a death? Right? So I think all this I just wanted to bring to just come to this thing, right? It's very important to know those messages from them, right? And then we can kind of summarize that. So main thing, right, as a human, says we should rise above Janamaran, birth and death. So the question is, what is it? What is rising above Janamaran, right? Everywhere it's written. And the good question is that what do we feel, when we rise above Janamaran? And to that, when we are discussing this topic of death, what are the experiences? What can be the experience at death? And how do you help that experience? And that varies from based on the spiritual state you are, your experience of your death. And that's all in your hand. According to Gurbani, Bhagat's Bani, that's what it says, oh human, that's all is in your hand. You can control that, right? So everybody is at different state of spirituality, and being very simple form, right? And the highest state of is called the Jivan Mukti. And Jivan Mukti, how hard is it to understand the Jivan Mukti? You are mukat from those forces and bonds. You come above those, and you feel the connection. Okay, ne panda, when there's a vessel which has a water, je vessel टूट गया, the water वड्डे water इच समा जाएगा ना. That water merges with the ocean water. Can you live like that? Can you be the whole? Can you feel the whole? Because you don't have that veil is gone away from you. And everybody has a little bit of glimpse of that, but then it gets not known, not ignored, right? That is called the Jivan Mukti, Paramgat, Parampad. That's the supreme state of living, right? And then if we categorize the spiritual states in a very simple way, and don't go over the terminologies and all, there are many terminologies used, right, in different grunts. It says, so what are, for a normal human, what are the stages of spirituality, of realization? It says there's those who are unaware, they don't care, they are not even aware of existence beyond body and mind, and all is going fine with them. They have never experienced it and they have never seen it, right? There are those, they have no interest. They think, oh, what are these guys doing? Oh, why are they talking about this? No, they are so much engrossed in their duties, in everything, and it hasn't happened to them that, oh yes, there is something beyond it. And there are a lot of, it's not like there are many of those, a lot more people are like that. And there are those who have been awakened. They have awakened